Hey girl, hey, good morning. How are you guys? Let me try to record this word really quick while no one's in the gym, okay? Because when people walk in, it gets crazy. But right now, let me show you. And can you look at that sun rising right over the lake? Yeah, it's quiet. There's no one in here but me. Hey y'all, hey girl, hey. Okay, so yeah. Before people come in, because then it gets weird because they just stare or So real quick, y'all see this shirt? I have a hoodie like this, half hood, half holy. That means pray with me, don't play with me. Okay, trolls and little minions of Say that come here, pray with me. Only if you know Jesus though. Don't be praying to them other gods because I don't do all that. Y'all know, let me tell y'all this story real quick. So I'm working yesterday. I called this lady. We had a scheduled call. She considers herself a doctor. So I'm thinking I'm calling a surgeon or something that needs legal services because you know I work at a law firm. So I'm calling her back and she's in California. So I'm telling her, you know, the limits for California as far as small claims. And I'm like, yeah, in Cali, it's blah, 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 right? And she goes, oh no, don't ever call California Cali to a native of California. She said, that's like similar to calling a black person the N-word. It's very offensive. I said, well, I'm black and that is not the same thing. And she's like, yeah, it's California. I said, okay, Miss Lady, but come to find out, Satan, little Say was at work, okay? Because this lady, she was not a doctor, okay? I had to Google her and looked her up. She's on the phone with me. I'm telling her about services. She's like, yeah, I'm a world-renowned psychic. Satan, you're trying to get me out of character. Because when that lady said calling California Cali is similar to calling a black person the N-word, and she didn't say the N-word, she said the word on the phone. I was like, once I realized she was a psychic, and as she was talking, I looked her up, okay? Her website says, I'm a psychic, and I can help you with candle magic. I said, oh, Say, this is one of your people. Okay, this is one of your people. You done sent to, and she got the right person. Okay, because I'm the only person that handles introduction calls. Okay, so if someone wants to know about our services, we have a reception team, but if they schedule a call, the call is with me, okay, to go over services with them because I'm also on the sales and marketing team. When I realized this was a psychic that does candle magic, I said, ooh, I wish I would have knew that on a call. I would have been like, ma'am, we can't take your services. We don't take cases like yours. But then I had to think. I said, nah, Lord, because you said you're transferring the wealth of the wicked to your people. So come over here and pay our company to help you. Transfer your hard-earned money to the law firm that I work for, okay? You said, Lord, that you will take the wealth of the wicked, and clearly she is wicked, and give it to your children. So thank you. Go ahead and pay for these services, okay? Because you got the right person. I can believe she said that. And I was like, no. I turned the other cheek, y'all. Because anybody that works at the firm with me, when they are having trouble with a client and the client is rude and cursing them out, guess who they send a person to? Good old Nina, okay? Because you got the right person, sir. I know how to be very professional and throw punches, okay? You will not be disrespectful. Even my manager, she's like, Nina, can you take this call because this person is really being weird to your coworker. Can you just handle it? They know I don't play, but I'm learning to turn the other cheek because, baby, you want to come with your little psychic abilities, you're messing with the right one, okay? Because I have prophetic abilities. I work for the kingdom. So come on and get slayed by the kingdom of God, okay? Come on. I just had to share that with y'all because I said, oh, no, little Miss Doctor did it. Because you ain't no doctor. You don't fix nobody's problems. If anything, if you're paying for her services, she's adding to your problems because there's open doors to darkness. So I had to share that with y'all because y'all my friends. And I was like, she almost made me go from holy to hood, but I didn't. I was really put together. And I said, come on, pay for these services. Wealth transfer. And some of y'all need to understand that, like, that's a whole different sermon. I'm not even gonna get into that. Let me give y'all this word, okay, before somebody come in this gym, because I'm normally not in here by myself, okay? Well, sometimes. What I told y'all in November and December, don't nobody really be in the gym because everybody lazy and tired from this year. But anyways, okay. So, this word has been on my mind. The Lord gave me this dream back in 2021, and it was a dream. No, it was not a dream. Thank you, Holy Spirit. It was a vision, okay? And this was one of the realest visions I ever had. I thought it was real, and I jumped up, hitting my window, okay, trying to kill this thing. And y'all gonna understand what I'm saying. But I woke up one morning in August of 2021, and when I woke up, I saw a big black spider, okay, a big black spider. And it was crawling up my window, and every time it tried to crawl up higher, it would fall. It would crawl up my window, and it was big. Every time it tried to crawl up my window, it would fall. And it kept doing the same thing, crawling up the window, falling down it, right? And I thought it was so real because I hadn't really had visions. This was in 2021. I was just walking into my calling at the end of 2020. So I thought it was real, but it was a vision. I was awake, and I started hitting my window and realized nothing was there, okay? And that I was having a vision. And I really didn't understand it at the time, but I was like, okay, a window of opportunity, you know, something you have for me, Lord, and something dark is trying to, you know, to take over it. I said, okay. And he began to speak to me about the windows that he has for me and, you know, it meaning opportunity and so forth. I did a whole word on this vision. He began to interpret and tell me what it was. And then shortly after that, the Lord had me log on to Facebook. And I wasn't logged in at the time. He had me log on to Facebook, and I had saw my ex-husband had proposed to his now ex-wife, okay? If you are new to this platform, and this word is not about me and my ex-husband, child. I talked to that man the other day. That's a whole different story. I was on FaceTime with my ex-husband a few days ago, and I was like, let me just save that. But we had a nice little conversation, okay? But this is not about him, and it's not about me. This is for somebody. This is gonna help somebody, because I don't really like going back, talking about these old dreams. But don't you know they ain't old? God's prophecies don't expire, okay? Even when they come to pass, they're not expired, okay? They're fulfilled. So anyways, so the Lord had me look on Facebook. This was at this time in 2021, I was standing. If you're new here, I am no longer a stander. The Lord has given me a choice. I said, Lord, let your will be done. He gave me a choice of restoration still to my ex-husband or a new love story. I said a new love story, but let your will be done. Don't you know God will raise another? That's a whole different story. You can go back. I've done prophetic words, and I've released what God told me to release on this topic, and I'm only giving that to some of you guys because I've had a lot of new subscribers. I don't know where y'all coming from, but y'all better be sent by God. Don't be coming here subscribing all on your own accord, okay? And God ain't sending you a different story, but just trying to catch y'all up real quick so I can work out. But I'm not a stander anymore. But in 2021, I was standing for my ex-husband, right? So the Lord had me log onto Facebook, and I saw that my ex-husband had proposed to his now ex-wife. Yeah, catch that, to his now ex-wife. And the Lord told me that marriage would be a failed takeoff. I did a word on that too, okay? Don't you know the Lord's word will never return to him void, okay? So anyways, so I saw he had proposed to her, and I was like so taken aback because again, it's 2021. I had just walked into my call, and I was like, God, why you got me standing for this person? And he just proposed to this other person, like whatever. And God was like, what I'm showing you by that spider is that, first of all, he said she was the spider, you know? And most people would look at the spider and be like, oh, she's a black widow, witchcraft, da 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 da. Yeah, a black spider prophetically does symbolize witchcraft, but it also symbolizes attachments, entanglements. What does a spider do? They build webs. What does a web do? It traps you, it holds things. So the spider also represented entanglement, right? And the entanglement is not sent by God. It's darkness, right? It's witchcraft. When you're rebellious, in which my ex-husband he does operate under rebellion. Okay, rebellion is witchcraft. That is in scripture, okay? So anyways, the Lord was like, she's trying to climb through your window, in your window of opportunity that I've promised you, but she will fall. It will fall. It will not stand. She will fall. It will fall. And I said, okay, God, check, right? Release the word on it and everything. So the other day, I was, like a week ago, the dream just came back. The Lord dropped it back in my spirit. And I just began to ask God, you know, what else did that window mean? Because again, it was a window in my bedroom. Okay, your bedroom is your place of intimacy, with God, but it also symbolizes your marriage bed, like your place of intimacy with your husband, your first husband, God, but also your husband that God has ordained you to be with. That's the room window she was in, okay? So again, the Lord was saying she's trying to come into your place of intimacy, but she will fall every time, okay? Notice I said my ex-husband's ex-wife. she is an ex-wife to him or whatever. And so a week ago, the dream came back to me. And I was just talking to God about it again, because we only prophesy in part. So God may not give you the full revelation or the full meaning of the prophecy that he previously gave you. He will keep adding to that thing. So I just began to ask God, you know, what did the window mean? What else does the window mean, right? And as I was talking to him, I was listening to a sermon. But talking to God, and I do that a lot. Like, the sermon ain't have nothing to do with marriage, but I was talking to God, and I was like, what else did the window mean? What does the window mean? I know you've already told me, but elaborate further. Excuse me. And in that moment, the pastor that I was listening to was reading from the King James Bible. And this is a pastor I trust, okay? It's Pastor Bronner in Georgia. I love him. He keeps it real. He is not going to give you words to make you feel good. He keeps it real. Very well versed, speaks several languages like Greek, Hebrew words. He knows. He's very, very educated. He's a doctor, Dr. Bronner in Georgia. His family used to make hair products. If you ever seen like the grease products and hair products, Dr. Bronner or Bronner Brothers or whatever. But anyways, he was preaching as I'm asking God, what else did the window mean? And in that moment, Pastor Bronner said, he quoted Malachi 3:10, and he said, I'm reading from the King James Version. He said, it says, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm gonna give you exactly what you need from what he said. He said, the Lord tells you to test him in bringing your tithe. And a tithe just means, it translates to tenth. It doesn't translate to money. It translates to a tenth, your first tenth. So he's like, God says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse and test me in this and see when I open up you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing too big for you to receive. See, don't I open you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing too big to receive. And in that moment, Pastor Bronner said, you are the window. And I was like, God, he literally said, you are the window. As I'm asking God, what else did the window mean? He quoted Malachi 3:10, and he said, you are the window. And even what was so significant about that is that when I first started dating my ex-husband, it was on March 10th. March 10th was when I first started dating him. Okay, so 3:10 has always been significant for me, and even that verse, but you read in other versions, and I'm not like one of those people that are like, oh, King James is the Holy Grail. No, God did not speak like how the King James Bible speaks words. God didn't talk like that. That was written by King James, and that it's a whole, y'all can look up the history on the King James Bible, but it is the most reliable version when it comes to just having everything in it and said in a way that it's meant to be deeply understood, if that makes sense. So I had never read it in the KJV version, and it says, Pastor Bronner kept quoting it. He said, "You are the windows." He says, it says in KJV, see won't I open up you the windows of heaven. He said, you are the window. And I was just so amazed, almost screaming, because God had answered me just that quickly as I'm listening to a Sunday sermon that has nothing to do with marriage or anything that I'm thinking, but God is strategic. And God began to minister to me. He said, when you test me in giving me your first, and again, tithe just means 10th. He wants your first 10% of your vision in the morning. Whatever, when you wake up and you open your eyes, give him your 10th, okay? Give him your tithe, your first 10% of your vision, meaning don't touch a phone or nothing. Your eyes should be on his word, on him, okay? Whatever you touch when you wake up, give him your first. Whatever you hear, give him your first. Whatever you do, give him your first. Tithe just means 10. And the Lord just began to minister to me, and he said, when you put me first and pour into me and my house and walk in purpose and feed my house, he said, my promises, you can test me in them, and I will open up you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing too big for you to receive. So he's telling you, I will fulfill my promises if you put me first. Like what I've said, what I've spoken, you can test me in it, and the windows will open, you the windows of heaven. And I'm going to pour out a blessing into you, what I've promised you, that's going to be too big for you to receive. And he said, you are the window. So what she was trying to take over and climb to the top of, the promise that I promised you, the window, she was trying to climb to the top of that, but she would always fall because that's not her position. That's a promise that I made to you. And because you have put me first, see, won't I open up you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing too big for you to receive. But when I promise my kids something, it doesn't matter who tries to climb to the top and get to that elevated place that I promised you, they are going to keep sliding down and falling because it's not meant for them to take over. And y'all better catch this word, because I can just keep going, but I need to work out, and I didn't even plan on this video being this long. But he said, you are the window, and whatever he's promised you, you continue to put him first. And again, a tithe just means 10th. It's not money. Some people don't have money. They're not working. They don't have income coming in to give God, but they can still give him the first 10% of their day, the first 10% of their sight, the first 10% of their feeling, whatever they touch, the first 10% of everything. And what God is trying to say is that the first 10% of your day, it doesn't matter. He's saying just put him first in every area. When you wake up, what you look at, he should be first. What you touch, he should be first. What you speak, he should be first. In every area. You got 24 hours in the day, okay? Give him 10%, the first 10% of that day. And we should be giving him more. Like, the more we get, that's a whole different word. But he says, you are the window. And you can test him in what he's promised you. Because if he's promised you something, it doesn't matter who's trying to climb to the top of that thing, who's trying to entangle that thing, who's bringing their witchcraft powers over that thing. It does not matter. That thing, that person will slide right on down because they can't climb to the top of your window of your promise that God has promised to you. Somebody needed to hear this. This is not about my marriage, so please do not comment, oh, Nina, God is doing this. Honey, this ain't about me. But God will bring me back to words for his children. This was never about me. It's about working for his kingdom and feeding, bringing food to his house so that there's food in his house. Y'all better, Malachi 3:10. Okay? It's about me feeding his house, feeding his sheep. This ain't about me. So don't quote nothing about me and my husband, my ex-husband in the comments. This ain't about that. Catch this if this is for you. And this does not just pertain to marriage. Whatever God has promised you, anything that tries to entangle that thing, take over that thing, climb to the top of that thing, it will slide right on down because that space at the top of what God promised you is only for you. brother and sister in Christ. So that is the word, y'all. I'm gonna get to this gym because your girl needs to stay fit. Because you know I'm like athletic over here. Like I'm a real athletic person, y'all. Yeah, no, I ain't never played no sports. I was a girly girl. I'm still a girly girl. Okay, but I gotta keep myself in shape. You know what I'm saying? And get to the gym. If God has told you to get fit, get to the gym. Because you see this? Like I said, it's empty, y'all. Ain't nobody in here. Get to the gym. But I love y'all. That is the word. That is the word. This is for somebody. If God has promised you, you are the window. He will open you the windows of heaven. You are the window. Just like the pastor explained in KJV, God will use anything and anybody. See, won't he open you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing too big for you to receive? Whoever tries to get to the top of what God has promised you, that thing is going to fall. Whatever entanglement they trying to put your promise in, it's going to fail. Okay, when the Lord told me, and I told my ex-husband before he married that girl, I said, God say, your marriage is gonna be a failed takeoff because that is not your wife. He said, I'm in love and I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da-da. That's his last ex-wife. And he called me after they went through their split, child. And my ex-husband, he'll be on and on. When God tell you something, I did a whole video when I found out they had got married. And God spoke to me. He said, I said it would be a failed takeoff. I didn't tell you that he wouldn't get married. His last ex-wife, okay? Whatever God said, you know a true prophet, because when they prophesy something God told him, that thing come to pass. My ex-husband called me last year, right after that thing fell apart. I said, what happened? Like, that's your ex-wife? I said, what's going on? When God tell you something, you better prophesy that thing like a G. I said, that marriage gonna fail. He said, no, it's not. I'm in love. I don't care what you say. God ain't tell you that. Sir, yeah, God gonna always get his way. But I love y'all. We'll talk soon. Bye.